What Spurs have done is have given everyone a sniff now, because they should have been long gone. They should have had top four sewn up. They should be looking forward to a Champions League semi-final, second leg. But now they're going to have to find a way of getting a big result against an Everton side that are playing well right now. They've made it difficult for themselves. I think 6 away losses on the bounce. I think a lack of players is not obviously helping. You know, Harry Kane, no Son against Everton. Well, maybe Harry Kane, we don't know of his injury situation. I doubt he'll be fit. And Son is a huge player for Spurs. They're not going to have him either, in this game either.
What have you made of this race for the Champions League places, and the way that teams who are involved in that chase just seem to be dropping points? One team drops points, and then nobody else seems to be able to take advantage.
Incredible, really, and like the title race, the top two, it's so good to watch because you just can't call it. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, before he actually got the job, you would have thought they were a shoo-in for the top four. The run they went on now, you're not so sure. And it just looks like any team that can put together 2 wins back-to-back might get in there, because at the moment you can't make a case for any of the 3 outside of Spurs trying to make that top 4.
Can we work out a reason why they're all wobbling?
Not really. I mean, it just shows you how good the other 2 have been. I think they've set such high standards. You know, to lose 6 away games on the bounce is not good enough for any team. You know, that shows, that you need that spirit to win away from home. You need things to go your way. You need that extra quality. And with the players that Tottenham got, especially the pace up front, that shouldn't be the case. So that's a huge disappointment. You know, Chelsea, Man United started 6th with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They're still in 6th. So that hasn't been really good enough. So, you know, I think now that Arsenal play tomorrow, they've got to go and win that one and just ask questions of Tottenham. You know, they know now that Tottenham have got to win. There's going to be a bit of pressure at White Hart Lane on next weekend. So anything still can happen. It's still hard to pick who's going to be the 2 that get in there. I do think Tottenham will be the one of those, but who knows? And
you mentioned the title race, Simon. As far as the race for the top 4 is concerned, it seems that everybody keeps slipping up. As far as the race for the title is concerned, up till now, they've barely lost a game between them.
Just phenomenal, the run that you're seeing both of them go on, just W's by every single game. And Pep, they seem relentless at Man City. Liverpool as well, you're almost waiting for Liverpool to slip up, but they're not either. They're staying right in there. And obviously, if both teams win both of their remaining games, then City are going to win it. And tonight's going to be a tough game for Liverpool, of course. But then I also think Leicester at home to Man City. Man City at home to Leicester on Monday night. That's a tough game because Leicester are in really good form, and that will suit them, that kind of game away from home with Vardy on the counter-attack. So again, it's tight to call, but you'd say it's in City's hands to lose.
There's lots of talk ahead of tonight's game about how much Rafa Benitez would like to see Liverpool win the Premier League title, given that it's something that he just managed to avoid doing when he was at Liverpool, whether or not whether he still has a soft spot for the club that he used to manage and would like to see them win it. What do you think?
You want to win every game as a manager. You know, he's not going to be out there today doing any favours to Liverpool, and he's not playing. So he can't do a lot about it once the game starts.
But you played in a game very similar to this when Blackburn were going for the league title.
I did.
It was against Liverpool,
right,
and Manchester United.
You're still holding that against me, Kelly.
Manchester United were also going for the title. And the question was, would Liverpool turn up on the day against Blackburn to stop their rivals from winning the league title? And you scored a goal.
All right, it was a bit aggressive the way you said you.
In a 2-1 win. I thought complimentary.
I know. It was an incredible day. I mean, you're playing in a game where a lot of the Liverpool fans didn't want you to win. But what I will say about that game is once it got underway, once you went 1-0 down, Liverpool fans were right on your side, and they wanted you to turn it around because they're proud of their team. They've paid their money. They don't want to turn up and see their team lose. You know, tonight's going to be an interesting one. The former manager, Rafa, and I agree with what Simon says. I think Leicester against Man City. Leicester are a very dangerous side. I mean, Maddison's a tremendous little player, and obviously Vardy on the counter-attack. And this is when there's so much pressure right now for these 2 teams. You know, they've set such high standards, but one mistake could cost the title. So I actually...
another manager who narrowly missed out on winning the league title with Liverpool, and Brendan Rodgers.
Absolutely. You know, and he's done a good job since he's gone there. They play good football, Simon, as he just said. So it's going to be an interesting one. I feel that you want them almost to a certain extent keep winning because the standards have been so high. You don't want it to be a mistake, but I've just got this crazy feeling there's going to be one more twist. I don't know why.
That defeat by Barcelona in midweek for Liverpool, do you think that will have an effect on what happens in the game against Newcastle this evening? Will the players be affected by it?
I don't think so. I thought for large periods of the game they dominated away at Barcelona, and they were actually excellent. Klopp came out and said that after the game, and I'm sure being the top manager he is, he'll get them up for tonight. This is a massive game now. They can't think about Tuesday night against Barcelona, not just yet, because this is the most important one, the next game that's coming up. So I'm sure they'll handle it very professionally. You know, they've got a good squad there that they can maybe rotate a couple, maybe rest a few for Tuesday because the games are coming thick and fast at the moment for them. But it's a huge game for them.
And Messi's not playing, which is handy, because he was getting right on my nerves the other night.
But it's more about the way, rather than the defeat by Barcelona. Because you go to the Nou Camp and you're beaten by Barcelona. Messi has a brilliant night. But as Simon said, it's almost because they played well and ended up losing 3-0 that it may have a negative effect, do you think?
Yeah, but also I think as a manager and as a player that you do, when you're in a dressing room, you analyse it, and in the cold light of day you go, we played well today. We had great possession. They played pretty much the first 25, 30 minutes of the second half in their half. They pressed Barcelona really well. I've not seen them that uncomfortable for a couple of years now, and you have to really credit Liverpool for that. Now, they've almost got to let that go and try their best to make sure you get 3 points today. If they get an early goal in the Champions League and get to 70 minutes 1-0, anything can still happen in that game. Of course the odds are against them, but stranger things have happened in football. Think back to the Champions League many years ago when they won it under Rafa Benitez, Liverpool, and they're 3-0 down. So a lot can still happen.
A lot can still happen in that game. You mentioned the game with Leicester as well, with Manchester City at home to Leicester. You both talked about it so far. The threat that Leicester have, particularly since Brendan Rodgers has come in, could that be a concern for Manchester City?
I think so. And was it after the Burnley game that Pep came out and said they'll win the Leicester game and it will go down to the final game of the season? You just have to be careful sometimes in what you say after games, because the Burnley one was a tough win. You know, they just got it with a goal that was only just over the line. So it just shows how close it can be at this stage of the season. And like myself and Jamie said, I do think that's one of their toughest games now, Leicester at home on Monday night. Brendan will have them ready for the game. Vardy, like we spoke about, in really good form now, scoring goals. And it could suit them perfectly, just defending and counter-attacking at times. And I do think that's going to be the big one for Man City. But we'll have to wait and see for tonight.
Although we do have to take into account the fact that Manchester City have a fairly potent threat of their own.
They do. And there's Sergio. I mean, he must be one of the best players you played against, Simon, surely.
He is, yeah. I mean, I did say Harry Kane earlier, but I'd have to say Aguero's up there as well. The movement he has, and almost, obviously not comparing him too much to Messi, but there's times of the game where he doesn't do a lot, but then he'll come alive so sharp in the box, in and around the box. His first couple of yards are so sharp, and he's hard to mark because he'll start offside at times and he'll come back and get involved in the play, and his goal-scoring record's second to none, so Leicester will be aware of that. Yeah,
and it's just such a high level of football that we're watching right now. Probably the best I've ever seen. You know, if Man City win their next two games, 198 points over 2 seasons, it's just phenomenal. You know, and the managers as well, the level, and the quality they're playing with, it's so exciting to watch.